Welcome back. Beautiful day. You can see today has my face. But today's video, something I want to talk about, which I wasn't planning to, and I was hoping not to make a video. This came up in my mind, and I think it's very important to recognize the fall of fighters. Now, obviously, this video is going to be focused heavily on our boy, the last style bender, Israel Adesayna. One of, if not one of the greats in the middleweight division. Overall, one of the greats MMA fighter we have ever seen. The greatest striker I'd probably ever see on the canvas. And I want to talk about how his recent fight and his current career has been going ever since his ex-Bejeda fight. Now, I'm not the only person who make this type of videos. There's tons I've seen talking about the great sacrifice he made and how he pretty much hit the climax when he fought against Adesayna. But the one thing I do want to talk about, I do have it here in my disclaimer. One, this is no way in form. It's a hating or disrespecting any of the greats here in the mixed martial arts world. This is only an analysis video of his career. Talking about his history and what has changed and moving on forward. The reason why I had to say this is because, yes, for one, I think a lot of people would make mistake, trying to dog on a person, beat them on their ground. Israel was one of my favorite fighters watching, especially being so active of a champ, something that we just do not see with a lot of recent fighters. But I will move forward on here because the one thing I would say that this is not the only trend that we see on this. Many other fighters have been in this situation here. One of them, obviously, being the BJ Penn, having 7 fights in a row that he lost. Tony Ferguson losing 8 fights in a row. Hector Lombard, who was a former heavyweight, or I think it was middleweight. This is back earlier in the days that he was a strong contender, losing 6 fights in a row. Tai Tuivasa at one point was fighting for the belt. People forgot, if Cyril Gane did not beat Tai Tuivasa, which Tai Tuivasa almost clipped him, we would have been seeing Tai Tuivasa versus John Jones. And he's still ranked top 15 on a 6-fight losing streak. Cody Garbrandt, after losing the belt, went on to lose 3 fights in a row. Anderson Silva, infamously, and the reason there's a 1-7 is because out of 8 fights, he lost 7 of them. Only beating Derek Brunson, but after that, he had lost 7 fights. After his historic 16-fight winning streak. And then Cowboy Cerrone losing 6 fights in a row. This company is ruthless. This sport is ruthless. You got to understand that these things happen. And unfortunately, it is a trend that some fighters do not know when to let go. And I'm just scared that we're seeing that with Israel Adesayna, especially his recent post saying he's not done. And I know he's not. He's a fighter, end of the day. These guys believe they can bounce back, but it's just very difficult because this is kind of where we're going to talk next. It is his record. On his last 7 fights, since 2022, that's 4 years, he's only amassed 2 wins. Obviously, when he lost against John Blachowicz in the light heavyweight, he went on to still defend his belt against Vettori versus Jared Cannonier. And then he met the one rival that we never expected to ever see rise up so insane, which to this day we obviously had to be grateful, was against Adesayna. Adesayna was the first person to dethrone Israel Adesayna in the middleweight division, shocking the world. for beating Izzy 3 times. And it was, you could say, a demon on his back, on his shoulder, that he had a chip in his shoulder that he knew that he had to do something about this. He goes on and has a historic night, beating Alex Bejeda, the one person that he just could not shake off. And he did it. I remember seeing that live. It was so insane. He played possum, knocked him out, finished him, and shot him with his own arrows. Insane career. And for that moment, I generally thought, like, dude, there's no way Israel's losing again. This guy beat the boogeyman, beat the one guy that just literally couldn't ever overcome, and he did it. If anybody had been in that position where you kept on losing over and over and over until finally you beat the person that's been beating you, there's pros and cons, and we're kind of seeing that in real life motion. The real good part is that you beat him. The bad part is that you don't know if you're able to do that again with your following opponents, which we are seeing is the passing of the guard, the new generation. We're seeing it with the generation of fighters that Izzy was with like Paulo Costa, Robert Whittaker, the Derek Bronson himself in the middleweight division. And I know I threw Derek Bronson, but he's out, right? The Kevin Gastelum, he's out as well, pretty much. It is a weird era. Martin Vettori is also out of the rankings too. Jared Cannonier is still out there fighting, but he still lost against the new generation. And we're just seeing the passing of the guard, and we just saw like one of the greats. You know, he got finished by DDP, got finished by Nasruddin Imavov, and got finished by Joe Pyfer. And Sean Strickland, crazy enough, was the first one to beat him after Alex. Insane moment. Insane moment. This record just shows that these guys that Izzy's fighting are top dogs. They're killers. All right. GDP was the champion. Sean Strickland was the champion. Nasruddin Imavov, he should be fighting for the belt, but he could potentially be champion. Joe Pyfer, obviously the weakest out of all of them, but he's still a strong top 5 fighter, top 6. And Alex Bejeda, obviously, he's going on a historic fight to get the 3rd belt. So Izzy isn't losing to any bums out there, no cans or anything. He's willing to still step in the fire to fight with the absolute best. But there's 100% a mental thing that I just think that he's just had so many fights. He has amassed a huge kickboxing record. He has now literally about to hit 30 MMA fights. That is not easy. For the average MMA fighter career is like 5 to 10 fights. To do that and still be dominant and to do what he has done, it's only impressive. But it does show what his career is at right now. I also want to talk about the last thing. I think Israel Adesayna should have his last dance, his last fight. It should be in Australia. And you can't have him a pick'em fight, unfortunately. It can't be a cherry pick fight because it's just not how the game is. You come in as a game, you jump in with the Wolves, and it's a eat or be killed type of game. And I think the perfect opponent for him to fight, and that might be the few, but I generally think this is a chance to either he makes a final statement in his career, or he given a new opportunity for someone that's still coming up around the same age and a dangerous opponent. Gregory Rodriguez. I know it's a very weird matchup. It's but there's just no one else. The Paulo Costa is moving up to light heavyweight. Robert Whittaker is moving up to light heavyweight. No need to see him against Roman Dolidze. No reason to see him against Jared Cannonier. There's no one else. RDR Rainer the Ritter, he's one rank above him. He's moving to light heavyweight. So that's already like 5 opponents that there's no one else for him to fight. It should be Gregory Rodriguez. This would be a tough matchup. And this should be waking up Israel Adesanya, because this guy is just like kind of like Joe Piper, hits hard, big, dangerous in the division, but he is beatable. I think this should be a final send off for Israel Adesanya. He should retire out there in Australia. I just don't want to see him keep on fighting and losing on a streak. We've seen that with those other previous fighters, with the Silva, with the Penn, with the Cerrone, with the Ferguson. We don't want to see that. It just becomes at this point like really sad for the fans, especially the people who look up to you. And I get this is your career. You are a fighter through and through. But you kind of also have to think about in the future, like you've been finished 3 times. Those damages will lead up. But hey, I appreciate this video. I'll see y'all soon. Thursday, I'll be making a breakdown video about this weekend's fight. I know I haven't done one in a minute. I've kind of been focused on this type of content. And then I'll also be making a video analysis summary with next weekend's fight. That's going to be fun with Jared Prohaska and Oberg. But I appreciate that. Please like and comment. Subscribe to the video. Share it to your friends. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace.